Woloszyn here on Saturday evening, and we are tracking snow showers moving into Metro Detroit. Now, we've had the snow kind of come through since about 2 o'clock this afternoon, starting off fairly light, but we're starting to finally see some steadier bands roll into the region, and that's what we're going to kind of keep the case as we get through the rest of this evening and into tonight. So again, here in the 7 First Alert Weather Center, tracking the snow that will be moving through. We're just getting started. We are going to see the snow for about another, let me do the math real quick, steady snow, honestly, for probably about the next 15 hours. So that does put us into tomorrow morning, right around about 8 o'clock or so. So we do have quite a bit of time left of the snow, plenty of time to add inches of snow of accumulation. So we'll kind of roll through what we're going to see over the next few hours, when you can expect the steadiest bands, also when we'll see the snow let up, if we'll see some raindrops mixed in, and then also just some totals expected. So again, I'll get you back to radar and take a look at what we've got going on. So again, lighter snow showers, they've been moving in over the last about 3 hours. We do have some steadier snow, coming in right now in through Lenawee and Monroe counties. And you can tell just with the return, it's more of the blue, which indicates some heavier rates, return rates for precipitation. So we are seeing some slightly heavier amounts of snow. For the most part, it has been fairly light. But we are going to be continuing to look at that increasing over the next few hours. As we take a look at what we got going on too, we also have some winter alerts. Just touching on this, these are now in effect for our region. That bright pink color, that is a winter storm warning. The purple color, that is a winter weather advisory. And the biggest difference is the amount of snow that's expected. So where we have the winter weather advisory, that is where we're expecting lighter amounts of snow. Still, with that said, we're likely to see a widespread 4 to 6 inches of snow, though we may actually have some impacts on totals for the city of Detroit South that could get us actually lower totals. And I'll have more on that in just a second. But then you can see Livingston, Washtenaw, and Lenawee counties. We have a winter storm warning where snowfall is expected to be about a half a foot or maybe even more in some pockets there. So we are going to be looking at a nice bit of snow moving through as we continue through the remainder of this afternoon and evening. So again, we'll go back to what we have going on. Lighter snow is pushing in as we speak, but as we zoom out, this is moving slow today. Gosh, this computer. But you can see this is just the leading edge of a much bigger system, as you can see here. So heavier snow has been falling for the last couple of hours through Indiana and through Chicago, even back towards Iowa. Hopefully, if you had friends come stay for Thanksgiving, that they left earlier today and to try to outrun at least a majority of this system. If you do not have your friends that have not left just yet, I would maybe hold them off until later tomorrow afternoon. That is because by that point, we should start to see hopefully crews tackling what will be falling tonight and into tomorrow morning. Please don't leave early tomorrow morning, especially if you have a long commute. That will probably just add on more hours. Road conditions will improve as you get later in the day, and again, as more crews get out and clear the roadways, not only here in Southeast Michigan, but even across the majority of the region. All right, so as we zoom back in, we're looking at just the leading edge of this snow, but it will continue to move in as we get into tonight. I do expect steadier snow, or the snowfall rate, to increase as we get closer to about 8 o'clock tonight. So if you are going anywhere this evening, it might not be too bad right now where you're at. It's just going to be probably worse on your way home. So keep that in mind. Be prepared for it to take you longer for you to get home. Be prepared for less than ideal driving conditions as well. I know crews are going to be out salting. I know plow crews are going to be out too. But still, you know, they can't be everywhere at the same exact time making perfect conditions. So keep that in mind. Snowfall rates increasing after about 8 o'clock tonight. And then we are going to see our steadiest snow overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So a lot of this will be falling when we're sleeping, or hopefully sleeping. And then once you wake up in the morning, hopefully it's mostly done, but it's not going to be completely done. And I'm actually going to backtrack there. So this is 8 a.m. on Sunday, and I touched on it earlier, but okay. So I'm going to stop here. This is about 5 o'clock on Sunday. So I touched on this earlier. There's a good chance that we are going to see some changeover as you get closer to the state line, mainly Detroit South towards Monroe. So this area right here, this could impact your totals if we do switch to a little bit of rain. Obviously, when you have rain, you don't have snowflakes that that are stacking on top of each other. So that could lead to lower snowfall totals. So potentially Detroit south towards Monroe, our totals could be as low as 3 inches and maybe some pockets even lower than that. So as we get again into tomorrow morning, there's that chance to see the changeover, and I'll put things in motion again so you can see more green. That's the rain. So there's a good chance that we could see that. Now, latest models, which this right here is the graph model, does have it actually warm air coming all the way up towards Port Huron. I said that really weird. Port Huron, Mount Clemens even, and then of course farther to the north near Lake Huron. So we may see some totals impacted pretty much all along the Detroit River, also Lake St. Clair, and down towards Lake Erie. So again, looking at that potential for a changeover to raindrops, that would lead to some lighter totals. Right now, still have you in the 4 to 6 inches total range in this region, but know that you may be closer to the 4, if not even lower than that, 3 inches of total accumulation. All right, so that is again 8 o'clock on Sunday. At this time also is when we're going to start to see the steadiest snow kind of wrap out of the region. However, for those of you that live closer to the thumb, we're likely to have the snow hold on the longest, and also some lake enhancement possible, and that just means there's more moisture available, which would lead to more snow or higher snowfall rates from Lake Huron. So there is the potential for that as you get into Sunday. We're still going to keep a few light snow showers throughout the day on Sunday. Additional accumulation will be quite minimal as we get throughout Sunday, but overall looking at our heaviest snow again expected tonight, and then still more snow showers into your Sunday. All right, looking at the snowfall totals map, that did not change anything actually from what meteorologist Dave Rexroth came up with for yesterday, because it's a really good look at what we'll be looking at. Again, I do expect a widespread 4 to 6 inches of some snow. It's just the one area again that we might have some changes. Again, potentially kind of a line here, Port Huron all the way down to Monroe. You may be closer to 3 inches. If we see that change over to some rain. It's a big if, you know, it kind of really depends on if we get enough warm air coming in. Doesn't always happen with these systems, but there is the potential for that. So we may see lighter totals from Port Huron down towards Monroe. West of US 23, that's where we're looking at a half a foot, maybe even more than that, 8 inches of snow. Definitely higher amounts are expected farther to the west. This is why, if you heard anyone kind of talking about, I gave a little advice too about people going back to Chicago. I said, you want to leave earlier than later, especially today, just because the snow obviously arriving there earlier, and then the more and more snow falls, that of course leads to higher totals. As we get into tomorrow, I would advise leaving later in the day if possible. This would give road crews the ability to try to clear, you know, even our major interstates as we get into tomorrow. So again, heaviest snow falling tonight, and then that'll lead to some changes as you get into tomorrow. So another look at kind of how the timing breaks down with all of this. We are going to be looking at snow showers increasing pretty much now through 8 p.m. So increasing in intensity, also increasing in coverage across the area. Our heaviest snow is going to be between 8 p.m. tonight through 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So be prepared for our totals to go up. As we get into your Sunday, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., most of us will still have snow, but we're likely to have raindrops mixing in south of Detroit, and that could impact totals. Then for the rest of the day, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., honestly, this probably could go a little bit longer. Light snow showers, really not that much additional accumulation, maybe just a few spots pick up another half an inch or maybe an inch, but overall it won't be as much compared to what we are looking at overnight. All right, we've got some comments coming in. I know I just kind of gave a whole spiel there. I'll put radar back up as I look at a few of these comments here, just so you're able to see what's going on. Feel free to ask me any questions. Let's see. Got some interesting, okay, so specific cities, I'll get back to the snowfall expected map, because that's just the best way to put it, because I'm getting specific cities. Again, I mentioned this yesterday. Snow is like one of the harder things to kind of forecast how much you'll see, because honestly, one place will have 5 inches, for example, but like 2 miles down the road, which is not far, would have, 4 inches of snow, and then 2 miles north of that will have 6 inches of snow. So snow can definitely be pockety, especially if you get those heavier bands. It's a lot more noticeable in snow because of course the snowflakes are bigger than raindrops, and so they accumulate more, so you'll see a wider variety of totals. All right. Okay, let's see what we got. Not much in Ann Arbor. Yeah, I saw it falling during the game, but seeing some accumulation here in Southfield where we're at our station. We have some snow. I don't have any accumulation on the ground yet in terms of, there's a little bit on the grass, not on the pavement. The pavement right now is wet. We're probably going to get, we should get enough snow. I mean, what's expected that this will start to accumulate even on the pavement. Let's see. Someone's joining from Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, not here. Let's see. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking over at some comments that we got going on. Someone said, so you were wrong again. I love these comments. I love these comments just saying, nope, not wrong. Okay, cool. It was easy peasy to get those. Let's see. Love the snow. Love the snow. I love the snow too. You know, it's good to have it. Let's see. Let's see. All right, love this one too. Joke of a storm. This is gonna be, it snowed very lightly in Taylor for an hour. Has stopped and nothing since. Once again, we are just getting started. Yes, the snow is just starting to pick up across the area. I don't expect steadier bands to roll through until about 8 o'clock tonight. So hopefully that helps you out. Again, heaviest snow will be between about 8 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. But for those of you in Taylor, actually, you may see some change over to raindrops. So your totals may be closer again to that lower end, 4 inches or maybe even 3 inches if we get that changeover tomorrow morning. Let's see. I love the great advice and the people that are being positive, being like, everyone be careful. You know, this is the first snowstorm. I've been through many snowstorms as well. But, you know, it's just always important to be careful on the roadways there, not only for you, but other drivers, for the snowplow drivers that are out there trying to make the roads better, for any sort of law enforcement, police, or MSP that's out there just trying to, you know, keep people safe or blocking roads that you shouldn't go on. A lot of times, you know, especially with that initial snowfall, some overpasses, like the other day, we had the overpass from 696 to 275 closed just because it had ice on it. Overpasses freeze faster, the snow sticks on there faster just because you have that air going underneath. So they're just trying to help keep us safe. Just be safe. Slower is better and allow some extra time. You don't need to be in a rush at all this evening. Let's see. I love this. Okay, so some of those questions, keep them coming in too. I'll continue to keep updated until we get into the later parts of tonight, but I want to go through again what we've got going on. If you are just joining us, we do have a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory in place now until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. The purple color, that is the winter weather advisory. The pink color, that's the winter storm warning. If you're wondering what the difference is, it's honestly the snowfall totals. When we get higher totals, the National Weather Service issues the warning. If we have lighter snowfall totals, they issue the advisory. An advisory is issued when it's mainly impacts to travel across the area. That's like the biggest problem. But if you're in your house, you're fine. A warning is issued when there could be some issues because of the amount of snow. So yes, traveling, far less than ideal. And then also in your house, there may be enough snow to potentially knock down power lines or break tree limbs. And then of course that leads you to danger if you don't have power in your house or something like that. So that's the concern there. But in our case, this is mainly because of the total amounts. 4 to 6 inches of snow are expected in the advisory range, and then 6 to 8 inches of snow where we've got the pink color and the warning here. Again, there's one little caveat that we may see some changeover south of Detroit that could impact some totals and bring them actually down just a bit, but I still expect a majority of people in the winter weather advisory to get the 4 to 6 inches of snow. All right, we're just starting to see the snow move in. We've had light snow showers on and off through about 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon, depending on where you live. Farther to the north, really not much has moved in just yet, but we'll start to see more and more snow pick up. We are starting to see some brighter returns down farther towards Washtenaw, Lenawee, and Monroe counties here. I'm going to see what we've got on our precipitation rate. You know, 0.02 of an inch an hour, that is mainly water equivalent, so that's raindrops equivalent. So if we had a 1 to 10 ratio, which is the average for snow, so like 1 inch of snow, or sorry, 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow, that's the 1 to 10 ratio. This would be about maybe 1/4 of an inch of snow if we had that falling an hour. So not a ton, but we're seeing bigger returns. Let's see if I can get some other totals back that way. You know, that there we go, 0.4 of an inch inch of snow that would be the equivalent. For example, to put things into perspective, farther to the north, if I click up there, much lighter. So again, we're starting to see some stronger returns in precipitation rate, and we are just only going to see those numbers go up more and more. As you can see farther to the south, there's more of that dark kind of blue color. I'm going to take off our radar here at Detroit Metro, or not Detroit Metro, excuse me, at the National Weather Service in White Lake at there, just so you're able to see kind of more of the color. So again, going back to those kind of returns, precipitation rates, here, for example, you are looking at potentially, it's 8/100ths of an inch per hour, and if you had a 1 to 10 equivalent, it'd be like 8/10 of an inch of snow an hour, so getting close to an inch of a snowfall rate. So there is heavier snow off to our south and southwest, and again, that will be moving into our region as we get into the remainder of tonight. So expect the snow rates to pick up, especially as we get closer to 8 o'clock tonight. Again, I know it's a Saturday night, I know it's Thanksgiving weekend, so a lot of people, going to Friendsgivings or that, or just anything. If you're going out and about, just be prepared for poor driving conditions on your way home. If you don't have to go anywhere, that's going to be better too. And if you're just really hoping to get out and about at some point for the rest of this weekend, conditions will be better tomorrow afternoon. We know how it goes, especially with the timing of this snow. This snow will be mainly overnight, so we know crews are going to be out, and we know that conditions are going to be worse in the morning, and then as we get throughout the morning, more and more road crews are out there plowing, salting. It's just going to get better. It's just a process. So yeah, that's the best advice I've got there. All right, zooming out more to take a look at this beautiful storm, because I don't know, anyone else like to look at storms like this? So this storm is broken in half. Obviously, we've got the snow off to the north, and then we've got rain to the south, and some thunderstorms down there too. We're not going to see thunderstorms, but we do have a chance to see a little bit of rain. That's the one thing that could impact our totals, but we do still have a pretty big swath of snow that is going to roll on through. We're not going to see the most here in our state. The most will be on the west side of the state, and then also towards Chicago. That's just where kind of the band is going to set up, and that's just due to the center of the low and as it goes across. So the center of the low might go kind of right over us, and that when it does that usually leads to us actually seeing lesser snow amounts than other spots. And then also, depending on temperature wise, we could be looking at a changeover to some rain, and that's one thing that we are going to have a good likelihood actually as we get into tomorrow morning. So again, I played through this before, I'll play through it again. This is Futurecast, so this is looking ahead. We will continue to see the snow pick up, not only in coverage but also in intensity over the next few hours. We'll have our heaviest snow between 8 o'clock tonight and through about 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you can see kind of the darker blues here as the snow rolls on through, and then we get into tomorrow morning. This will stop around about 5 o'clock, where we do have a chance to get that warmer air coming in, and that'll bring us potentially some lighter snowfall totals overall. So it does look like the chance for that changeover will be on the west side, or excuse me, my goodness, on the east side of our area. So from Port Huron down through the city of Detroit, best chance is going to be Detroit south to Monroe or southwest to Monroe. But there's also that chance that we could see it extend up towards Port Huron, not necessarily buying this as much, the northern extent of it, but definitely the southern extent, a good possibility of that. And so that's between about 5 and 8 a.m. that we'll have that changeover while everyone else continues to see snow. And then the system does start to lift off to the east-northeast, but we'll continue to see moisture in the area, some lake enhancement, as well as just kind of residual wraparound with this storm. That'll bring us a few more snow showers throughout the day on Sunday, but totals will be much lighter throughout the day on Sunday, more so about a half an inch to maybe a pocket or two up to about an inch. But overall, still looking at about 4 to 6 inches of snow. I mentioned this again, I'll keep mentioning it, mainly Detroit south towards Monroe, southwest towards Monroe and the state line. That's where we could be looking at maybe totals not reaching that 4 to 6, could be closer to 3 inches or so because of that changeover potential as you get into tomorrow morning. West of US 23, 6 to 8 inches of snow, highly likely with this system, and then even heavier amounts farther to the west. There's a lot of moisture available, and now that we are getting over dry air that we did have in place. So that's kind of usually why it starts off slow, especially with the progression of this snow, is because what's going on is the column is actually getting saturated. So it snows a little bit and it doesn't reach the ground, but eventually it starts to reach the ground too. And as more and more moisture comes in, that snow is able to make it all the way down to the ground, and of course have some impacts there and lead to some accumulation. So I'll leave this up. I'm going to take a look over here again at some comments and what we've got going on. Great question. When will this storm last? So again, it's going to last through tomorrow morning. Heaviest will be, well, I should say the heaviest snow is going to last through about 5 a.m. and then we'll see snow taper down, but we'll still keep a few showers through Sunday. It is out of here by Monday. I just saw some teacher comments. I feel so bad. Some teachers were, being like, this could have happened Sunday night into Monday, and you'd have an extended break. But no, this one's going to happen Saturday night into Sunday, and then it's going to be out of here. We're back to dry weather on Monday, but there is another chance for snow Tuesday. Lighter snowfall, but we could see a couple inches, and then we also might get another little bit on Thursday, and maybe also again next weekend. So we'll see. We're kind of getting into this little pattern where it's active as these storms kind of roll through, and we're cold enough that it'll be mainly snow as of right now. That's what the extended forecast is looking like. All right, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. What do we got? Let's see. Scott in Garden City saying loves the snow when you don't have to drive. Honestly, it's nice when you don't have to drive. And also if you didn't have to shovel too. Did anyone else rake their leaves today? I'm just going to throw that out there because that's what I did. Rake my leaves today because I was like, well, if the snow, when the snow comes, the leaves are going to be stuck there because we are likely going to have these cold temperatures sticking around. So I don't expect the snow to melt, honestly, over the next couple days too, because we do keep it on the chillier side, and then there's more snow chances too. So yes, it's got some outdoor things that you have to do. Let's see. Had some questions. People are excited about the snow. That's fun. Let's see. Readings tomorrow. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. Love to hear up in Grayling. They got 18 to 23 inches. That's great. Honestly, that's great. I know, we were looking at, there's a lot more lake effect snow up here in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula and the UP, and I'm all for snow in the winter up there because it is great for skiing, it is great for snowmobiling, and it was great to have all that lake effect snow. I know some places were even looking at the potential to try to push 3 feet of snow. Most places didn't quite make it there, but I mean, it's good to see. I know terrible for traveling, and I know this is a weekend where a lot of people go up north, but it is good for, of course, all the things that you want to do outside winter seasons up there. So always great to see. Dun, 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 dun. I do have Tony asking about, will it be a El Nino season? No, it's supposed to be a weak La Nina. So La Ninas for us, they really vary, honestly, but the indication is that we should have a weak La Nina, which for us would mean our storm track, we would have more storms go across our region just because of the jet stream movement, and I think I'm backwards every time I do this because of the mirror here, but we would have more storms. So we should have more storms, but that doesn't always mean that we'll have more snowstorms for us because that is really dependent on, how cold our temperatures are when that system comes through. How far south is that system? Is the center of the low just to the south of us, or does it move to the north of us? Because if it's north of us, we're in the warmer sector. If it's to the south of us, we are in the cold sector. So I think we'll have a pretty good active season. We should have a more active season, but how much snow? Is this going to be one of our biggest snow seasons? It's not like you can't pinpoint that just yet because we've had some great La Ninas. We've also had some La Ninas that were dry. We've also had some La Ninas that were really warm. So usually with a weak La Nina, though, again, there's the increased chance that we'll have more precipitation this winter. I hope for it. I mean, I'm a Michigander, and as much as we complain, about this or that with the snow, it's fun to get those good snows. I was just saying to someone, I was like, I wish it kind of snowed between like Thanksgiving all the way through January. And then once January was done, then we switched to spring, not the gloomy weather where we kept getting a snowstorm and kept getting it later in the, March or even April. So obviously that probably won't happen, but that would be nice. All right, let's see what do we got going on. Snowing in Inkster. Thank you, Tiffany. Let's see. Mike saying East St. Clair County was looking like, yeah, so Mike touched on the fact that there is a chance that we could get that changeover to rain tomorrow morning. If you live in East St. Clair County, there is the chance for that. Oh no, I'm going to start coughing again. I know you can hear it in my voice, but this is what kids do to you. Anyways, but yes, we are looking at a changeover possibility. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed because of the track of the storm system, but there is the possibility that we may have a changeover to rain tomorrow morning from Port Huron down to Detroit. But then there's a much better chance that we will see that from Detroit down through Monroe towards the state line. So keep that in mind, that there is the possibility of that. So totals could be closer to 3 inches. We're still going to see quite a few hours of snow for example, East St. Clair County and also Eastern Macomb County, Wayne County, Monroe County. We are still going to see hours of snow from about 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. before we have that changeover, but know that there could be some impacts there. Yay, let's see, what else? What other questions do you guys have for me about the weather, please? Are you curious about this snowstorm? Any questions about this? I mean, we've been through this. Great Lakes Landscaping saying, stay safe, everyone. Yes. That's the best. I mean, honestly, just take it slow. Be safe out there with this system coming through. I mean, we've all been through snowstorms before. This is just our first bigger one of this year. So it's just a great reminder to be safe out there. All right, let's take a look at radar, kind of what we got going on. Again, looking at maybe some of those steadier bands now coming a little farther to the north. I'm going to pause radar here. And you can see where we've got more of that darker blue in towards Ann Arbor, and then following along 94 towards Jackson, starting to see at least some slightly steadier snow coming in at this moment. Also seeing some snow. Again, we were just talking about these places that are going to see changeover, likely to some rain, but now we're looking at snow from Flat Rock down towards Monroe. But again, you can see some pockets in here near Summerfield, also even towards Milan. We were not seeing, the steadier snow. It may even get a little break here or there. Again, we're still just getting into this system here. Also, you may have had snow, seeing some flurries more so up towards St. Clair, over towards Lake Orion, kind of along this line along M59. But then now we're not really seeing that in Southfield down towards the city of Detroit, Dearborn towards Inkster. So again, looking at just this initial kind of start of snow, and there's a lot more to come as I zoom out and take a look farther to the south. Again, a lot more snow is expected to come, and as we continue to go out, I mean, obviously even a lot more snow is on the way. This system is moving kind of more so west to east, a little bit of a northerly component there, but not too much overall. We're going to continue to see this system roll through and continue to bring us, again, more snow through the next couple of hours. And we'll see our highest accumulation overnight tonight, especially between about 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mike is hoping it stays all snow. Me too. Honestly, it's no fun. And then it rains on the snow that you've already had. Let's see. What else? Any questions on this system? If you're just joining, I'll go through all of this again and kind of what we've got going on. Gonna backtrack back to the beginning. Gosh, gotta tickle my throat again. All right, let's restart this here. All right, we've got some snow coming on in. Again, ask me your questions if you have. I'll get the snowfall totals expected around the region. One minor, maybe change to those totals. But also a reminder, a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory are now in effect. They are in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is mainly due to the difference in the amount of snow. That's why we are split. This is issued by the National Weather Service. The winter weather advisory, that's where we're looking at snowfall totals of about 4 to 6 inches of snow. And an advisory is issued mainly when the impacts are to travel. So if you're going to stay at your house, you're going to be fine. Winter storm warnings are usually issued when snowfall is heavier. Travel is extremely dangerous in these conditions. And then also, in these areas, because of snow, you could have higher chances of power outages as the snowfall rates are higher, leading to more snow falling on wires that could break the wires, or falling on tree limbs, and then those tree limbs can break too and do damage to property. So that's what we're looking at potentially in Livingston, Washtenaw, and Lenawee counties. Thankfully, with this system, we don't have any winds. We're really not expecting super strong winds, nothing like what we had a couple days ago. So that's the one benefit. We'll see the winds pick up slightly, but not like what we had with the system that came through that triggered all the lake effect snow. Sorry. Anyways, here we go. We got light snow just arriving. As we zoom out, a lot more snow is moving through. Looking at steadier snowfall now on the west side of the state, all through Indiana, Illinois, even into Wisconsin, and then Iowa and Minnesota, really starting to see more of that snow kind of pick up. As we zoom in, we're just, again, starting to see this. So if you're saying, hey, it's not really falling that much, or hey, it started falling and now it's not, it's just because it's just starting. So we're going to see that continue to change over the next couple of hours. So snow between now and 8 p.m. is just going to be increasing in coverage, increasing in intensity. I do expect our heaviest snow to go between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. I'm so sorry. I'm battling this tickle in my throat. But we are looking at, again, an increase here. I'm going to mute myself if I can do this. All right, I'm back. Let's get through this, right? Anyways, I'm back. All right, let's get through this. We are looking at, again, heaviest snow between 8 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then we were talking about this. There is the potential that we'll see some changeover between 5 a.m. and moving towards 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. You can see that green. That is the potential for some rain as we move throughout those hours. The best chance is going to be Detroit towards Monroe and the state line. North of Detroit up towards Port Huron, there's still going to be a chance. I don't expect it to be as high, but we will see. But keep this in mind, even if we do have the changeover between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m., along that band, you still have had snow from all the way now until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you're still going to get accumulation. It just might lower the totals just a bit. We are expecting the snow, of course, to continue pretty much everywhere else. And then as we get throughout Sunday morning between 8 a.m. and about 11 a.m., we'll start to see the steadier snow kind of wind down a bit, but we will still keep a few snow showers all the way through tomorrow evening. But the snowfall totals tomorrow evening would be lighter. We're talking closer to a half an inch or maybe an inch of additional snow. There could be some lake enhancement, which means when we have lake enhancement, that does mean that we're looking at moisture from the lakes helping kind of increase the snowfall total. So we may see some impacts of that from Lake Huron if you live north of I-69 as we get into your Sunday. But here's a look at those snowfall totals as we get into, oops, sorry, there we go, not me. If you look at those snowfall totals, 4 to 6 inches of snow, most likely for all of us, 4 to 6 inches of snow for most of us is what I want to say. This is the only change that we're looking at potential. It's this region from Port Huron, if you follow my blue arrow, down through Mount Clemens, Detroit, Monroe, and towards the state line. That is where our totals may be potentially 4 inches or even a little bit lower than that if we have the changeover to rain as we get into tomorrow morning. It's only a few hours of the rain, so we're still going to see snow. For the majority of this event, it would just be that changeover towards the end. West of US 23, 6 to 8 inches of snow and heavier amounts are expected west. If you are traveling tomorrow, you are going to be running into snowy conditions. If you can wait until tomorrow afternoon, conditions will be better to drive. Not ideal, but they'll be better to drive as more crews will be able to hit more and more roads to take care of that. I'm going to leave the snowfall total map up, and I'm going to see if I can answer any more questions, what we've got going on. Let's see. Ooh, Michelle asking a great question about what can we expect maybe for the month of December. Do we see any more above freezing temperatures? I do actually. In the extended period, I think we're going to see above average temperatures. We may actually even switch back to rain past next weekend. So something to watch. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see. Someone saying it snowed, stopped, it didn't stick. Again, it is just the beginning. Just the beginning. All right. So I'm going to leave this video up here. So what this was live, and if you are going to watch this video, I am going to leave this video up here. You can have your questions continuing to go. I do need to prep for our forecast for tonight. We do have a couple of cut-ins that we're going to do in between college football, and then of course we have our shows later tonight. But I will be back on here probably closer to about 8 o'clock tonight to fill you in on the intensity of the snow, kind of conditions, latest conditions, and then what we can expect as we get through the nighttime hours. If we do make any adjustments, as of right now, the only adjustment that I may make, again, is potentially lowering that total from Port Huron down towards Monroe, with now an indication that we may get that change over to some rain as we get into tomorrow morning. But again, still a lot of snow expected. Snow is still rolling through. I'll leave these totals up there. Keep your questions coming, and of course we'll continue to keep you informed here on 7, also on TV 20 tonight, and also here on all of these platforms. Keep your questions coming. I'd love to help you out, keep you safe. Make sure, again, best advice, take it slow. If you don't have anywhere to go, don't go anywhere. It will get better as you get into late tomorrow. All right.